What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 8th Arrow Whispering. And on today's episode, I figured we would just do a little ramble episode and talk about a wide variety of things. It is currently Tuesday, and I know these videos are usually posted on Monday by 3 o'clock, but this week's a little differently. I was actually out of town and not supposed to get back until today, but ended up having a little change of plans and coming back last night late. I got in about 1:45 a.m. Due to the fact that we were supposed to get a snowstorm this morning, and so I did not want to be driving home today with a snowstorm happening, so I was in Charlotte for the weekend for the Super Bowl. Yeah, so I drove back last night, got in and have been taking it slow today, and I was in Charlotte yesterday, obviously, and due to that I was not able to record and post yesterday, but we are back today, a little later than normally post, but either way, we're here, we have a video, so yeah, I figured we would just do a little ramble, talk about the Super Bowl, talk about some other things going around in the sports world. Luka Doncic had his NBA debut last night with the Lakers. More drama with the Hornets and the trade with Mark Williams being rescinded. And then just a little life update with the channel. I do apologize with it being a snow day. A lot of my neighbors are home, and so there's a lot more activity around our apartment complex than normal. So I'm hoping those sounds won't be too distracting or too loud to where they ruin this whisper ramble. My landlord's currently outside shoveling snow, and talking to people as they come and go, so hopefully that will not be too distracting. But with all that said, let's get into today's video. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with the Super Bowl. And if you guys have been keeping up with my channel, you know that I was very unexcited about the Chiefs potentially three-peating. I wasn't even super thrilled that the Eagles made it. Those are probably my least two favorite teams to make the Super Bowl in this playoff round. However, I was cheering for the Eagles, and I was very happy to see them just demolish the Chiefs from beginning to end. It was a complete onslaught, and it was fantastic. Yeah, it was nice to see. All season the Chiefs have been sort of barely scraping by with most of their wins. Some of them they won them pretty easily, but a lot of their wins they had gotten lucky in how they won, whether it be a field goal bounce or a fumble by the opposing team or a last-second field goal, whatever it may be. And then we all know the controversial calls that were going their way, helping them win. And so for this game to just be the Eagles completely dominate from start to finish, it was a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty, and it did make me, just like when the Eagles beat the Patriots, back in 2016, 2017, it made me like the Eagles just a little bit more. And I do like Saquon Barkley, and I like Jalen Hurts. And so I'm happy for them, and just happy the Eagles won in general, but I'm not a fan. The thing that makes it hard to like the Eagles is the Eagles fans. I do not like Philadelphia fans, and I'm not alone in saying that. That's a pretty common thing I hear from a lot of people, is just they can't stand the Eagle fans. But as a team, I don't mind them. And so I still want to see the other teams make it to the Super Bowl rather than the Eagles, but it's all good. final score was 22-40, but that was not like those last two touchdowns the Chiefs got were garbage time touchdowns. They didn't matter. So that was not actually a representation of what the game really was. From and even going into halftime, I think the Eagles were up 23 or 27, and I was still a little concerned because it is the Chiefs. They have had a bunch of comebacks, but then the Eagles just did not let up until the game was out of reach, and it was just a thing of beauty. Saquon, he didn't go off like I thought he was. I thought he was going to be the X factor, but they did a good job. The Chiefs did a good job of shutting him down. What ended up being the X factor was the Eagles' defense, their defensive line, their secondary. Cooper DeJean getting a pick six, winning a Super Bowl on his birthday as a rookie. That's pretty freaking cool. And I believe it was Saquon's birthday as well. Cooper DeJean and Saquon share a birthday. And I think they were the first NFL players to win a Super Bowl on their birthday in the history of the NFL. So, that's fun. But yeah, the Eagles defense completely just shut down the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes didn't know what to do. He was being bombarded by that defensive line and had no time to get any sort of play developed. I feel like that was the same when they played the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers did the same thing. They just rushed Mahomes and didn't give him the time of day to be able to get anything developed. I wish more teams could see that and replicate it and do that against them to shut them down. And maybe that will happen next season. Maybe people will start realizing that's the key to defeating the Chiefs. But we'll see. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that Super Bowl. They didn't three-peat. Hopefully don't have to worry about that again. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a break from the Chiefs in the Super Bowl for a while. Will Travis Kelce retire? I doubt it. I think if they won, there'd be a good chance he would retire. I know there were talks going into the game of him contemplating retirement, and the outcome of the game would have a lot to do with whether he retired or not. But yeah, I think with them losing, I don't think he'll end up retiring now, unfortunately. And I'm sure they'll come back next year and still be the same old Chiefs. But hopefully teams can start figuring them out a little bit more and put a stop to their reign. And I'm glad the Eagles were able to do that this year. So, yeah. We'll move on to a little NBA action. In the NBA world, Luka Doncic had his Lakers debut last night. I don't have the stats up in front of me, and I didn't get to watch the game because I was driving. But I think he got 14 points, 14 or 17 points maybe in his debut. And I watched a few highlights today, and man, it just doesn't seem right seeing him in a Lakers jersey. That's just it's very unfortunate. But they won, and I'm sure as time goes on, the more chemistry him and LeBron build. I know people have said because of their defense they're not going to be a contender, but I think if him and Luka can learn to meld and play off each other well, I do think they could make a playoff push, unfortunately. And especially with Luka, with the chip he'll have on his shoulder now, because Dallas traded him and whatnot. I think they'll make a playoff push. Even regardless of their defense, I think they'll be able to find a way to make it work enough to succeed. So on the other side, you have the Mavericks, who had an AD who had his debut on Saturday, had a dominating first 3 quarters. He looked phenomenal. It was actually like a lot of fun to watch him. But then in the third quarter, he goes down with a groin injury. They said it was a lower body injury, but if you watch the play, you could tell it was his groin. And now he's going to be out several weeks. And just the irony of that, trading away your young star who's 25, and you're concerned with his cardio, his health, and him not being able to stay healthy. And yet here you go, trading for a 31-year-old who is also injury prone, and he can't even make it through a full game before getting hurt and being out. Who knows how long? They said several weeks, but that could change. And so it's just a really bad look. I mean, the Mavericks front office was already a bad look for them, but this makes it look even worse. So yeah, that was, again, it was a dominant first 3 quarters. And if he stayed healthy, there might be more of an argument this week of, see, Mavericks were right, this is a good move. But I just don't see how you can make that argument with him getting hurt. And, we won't really know the full outcome of this trade until the next, after this season or the next couple seasons. Time will tell. But right now it's still not looking so great for the Mavericks. Yeah. And then another debut we had with Jimmy Butler having his Golden State Warriors debut. I believe that was Saturday night as well. That happened Saturday night, and that was a fun game. It started out a little bit rough with the Warriors not being able to hit their shots and go down to the Bulls. But once they hit their stride and Jimmy Butler was doing his thing and Steph was doing his thing, it reminded me of a vintage Warriors back when they first started their run, where it was just a fun team to watch. And it reminded me, obviously not as dominant and not as, not the same, because you don't have the Splash Brothers, and it was just, it's different, but it was still just a fun game to watch, with Jimmy just getting to the basket. He went to the free throw line, I think 13 times. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like he got to the free throw line 13 times or something. And just watching him do his thing, and then Steph staying back and hitting the threes. They just complement each other so well, their offensive games. And I think if they can find their groove and find their rhythm, I think they could be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time. It's still early. It was one game. They beat Milwaukee yesterday, but I didn't watch it. I didn't get to see the highlights yet or anything, or look at the stats. But I think if they can find their rhythm and keep that up, they could also make a playoff push. Especially if you get playoff Jimmy in there. That would be, yeah. I'm excited to see what they can do. The Hornets, the trade for Mark Williams was rescinded because he did not pass his physical, which is very unfortunate. The more I thought about that trade, the more excited I was about it, and getting Dalton Gannett. I could really care less about Cam Reddish, but Dalton Gannett I was excited about, and the draft pick we acquired with it as well, but that was rescinded, which I saw some fan speculation that that's just the NBA stepping in and helping the Lakers out, because the Lakers changed their mind or whatnot, but it's crazy to me, because now obviously the trade deadline's over, and so there's no renegotiation that can happen or anything like that. It's done. I didn't even know that was a thing. few days after the trade took place that they rescinded it. And I guess that was the more wild thing to me. But yeah, so now it's just sort of an ugly situation because after the trade was rescinded, the Hornets posted on social media how they're excited to have Mark Williams back, how they didn't want to trade him, and it was the Lakers who pursued them for him and whatnot. And so that's awkward. But now the Hornets are trying to see how they can dispute the rescinding of the trade, and so it's just gonna get ugly, awkward. I don't foresee Mark Williams being on our team after this season is done. But no one's gonna want to take him if his physical was that bad. Apparently they found stuff. Now I don't know why there wasn't, like, I guess some people were saying, can we get a league doctor or something, not a team doctor, to the physical? Because who knows what the Lakers, I don't know if they said what they failed him for. But regardless, we have Mark Williams back. We're not getting Dalton Gannett, which sucks, but you know, it is what it is. And now LaMelo's hurt again, so that's, you know, I think, like I said in my trade deadline reaction video, I wouldn't be mad if the Hornets traded him and got a nice haul for him. But with his injury history, I don't know how big of a haul we'd get for him at this point. So, yeah. But we never got to see. And now we made that trade after we traded Mark Williams. We made the trade with the Suns for Nurkic. And that was, I mean, we got a first round pick out of that, I believe, so that's nice. But now it wasn't really in a need. But maybe, yeah, maybe it'll, I don't know. Anyway, so that was that. So yeah, I haven't really seen, I know the De'Aaron Fox and the Spurs played against the Hornets on Friday night, and that was a really good game. That was a great finish to that game. And that was one. LaMelo was really making me mad that whole game because he kept trying to do too much, and he was trying to do it all himself, not using his teammates. And so coming down to the wire, I just expected the same thing to happen for him to go down and do too much. When he was driving the basket, I was like, great, here we go again. But then he drew everyone in and passed it out to Bridges, and Bridges hit the beautiful three. That was fantastic. That was so good. And I know De'Aaron Fox he hit the three, but the ball was still in his hand. So that was nice. That was a good game. So yeah, but anyway, moving on from that. Yeah. Other than that, guys, you know, I've gotten sort of into a rhythm. I know this week isn't gonna be the same because I didn't post one yesterday, so I'm sort of out of that rhythm this week, but I feel like I'm getting into a good rhythm of posting 3 videos a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm gonna try to continue that and maybe work in a few extra videos here and there. And I would like to start doing, I know recently it's been a lot of basketball, and that's just because it seems to be doing decently on my channel. I'm getting some feedback with those, and personally I just really enjoy playing 2K, and so those are easier videos to make because it's something I'm enjoying doing. But I'd like to get back into Overwatch a little bit. I know that's what I started this channel with, was Overwatch, and I haven't done that in a while, so I would like to get back into some Overwatch, and try to do some more movie reviews. None of the movies that I'm anticipating for this year have come out yet, but when those start coming out, I'd like to go see them and try to do some reviews. I'm also, one of my goals this year was to go through not all of them, but the Marvel movies in chronological order, phases 1, 2, and 3. I think that's up from America and going through Endgame, and Endgame's where I'll end it. But my goal with that is to watch all of them, but also to review them as I go and sort of rank them at the end of which were my favorites. And I don't know if I'm going to do a rankings page yet, or if I'm going to do a tier list. But I started that, and I've watched Captain America, the First Avenger, and Captain Marvel. And I think my wife and I are going to watch Iron Man today. So, yeah, I need to sit down and actually, I've written a few notes of my thoughts on those movies, but sit down and actually do a full review of them and then make the video. And then I just finished reading The Outsider by Stephen King, and I'm gonna try to do a review of that, a book review. Gotta figure out how I want to do that, or what I want to say about that. So, and then maybe a few more cooking videos, because I enjoyed making that one. So, still really in the early stages, guys, of figuring this out and finding my rhythm and finding my groove and finding my, what really this channel will be and what's going to be its main thing. So far it's been video games, and that's been great, and sports, so I'm going to continue all that, but yeah, just finding it along the way. I appreciate you guys who've been keeping up with me and watching my stuff and commenting on my videos. I always really appreciate that. I love seeing y'all's comments and just seeing what you guys have to say. So yeah. I've enjoyed having this channel so far. I've enjoyed being able to make content. After listening to ASMR for so long, it's nice to finally be making it. I'm getting a little bit more confident in ASMR to the point where I'll talk to people. I don't really, the people, I haven't really told too many of my friends or family that I'm doing this. Just because I think when people hear, like, you have a YouTube channel where you whisper and do ASMR, they can find, if they don't really know what ASMR is or anything, they can think it's a bit weird or whatnot. But the more I do it, the more I'm getting a little bit more comfortable of telling people this is something I've been doing. And so hopefully I'll get to the point where I can sort of just be a little bit more open about it, I guess. But also it's kind of nice to just have your own thing, that no one really knows about, I guess. But it's sort of just yours. That's also kind of nice. So, anyway, yeah, please let me know what you guys are enjoying about this channel, what you would like to see more of, what you would like to see less of. If you have any ideas, this is going to be a purely whispering channel. I'm not really going to do any sound effects or anything like that. At least that's not my goal, because that's not really the ASMR I enjoy listening to. And if I don't enjoy listening to it, I'm not going to make it. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to chat about with you guys. So yeah, guys, that'll do it for today. I appreciate you tuning in. If you're still here, please hit that like button. Maybe comment down below, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll be back with another video on Friday. Not sure what it's gonna be yet. Maybe I still have my Europe trip. I have to sit down. I have the video compiled and edited together. Now I just have to sit down and do a voiceover for it. So that's in the works. That'll be coming here shortly. And then maybe I'll get around to the movie reviews and maybe take a break from the video games, just because I feel like I've been overloading on that and not doing more. So more variety of things. because I don't want to just become a one. Like, I don't want video games to be my sole thing. I'd like to be more variety. And so just, yeah, I don't want to become lazy and just doing that, because it is fun to do. Not that the other ones aren't fun, but it's less work as well. It's easier to just do that because the video games help provide that content where I'm not having to speak the whole time, or I can sort of play off that. With this, it's just me rambling. And so when it comes to like the cooking or the movie reviews, I have to think through more so what I'm gonna say. It's just a little bit more challenging, which is okay. But as I'm starting out, that's not my strength, so I'm working on building that up to make it a strength. But those are a little harder to put out because I'm not as confident in those. So there's that. But alright guys, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys, wherever you're at, whatever time it is, you're doing well, and you've enjoyed this episode of 8th Arrow Whispering. Take care, guys.